Trapdoor Entertainment. What's that all about?
Oh, okay, really? It go back some years for me, man. I always said this going back through the evolution from the production tape to C-Lock Records through No Limit Priority. I always, thought A and B. You know what I mean? I want to get majors I can, being a flagship, but it was always people that supported me and pushed me to the focal point. So I always wanted to have a label to open the door for others. So I started as soon as I signed with Priority. One of the shots out to Greg Deuce, one of my OG homies, man, helped me to BMI in 96, 97 when he started saying what's happening, make sure this is taken care of. So I got my first company was it's Black Print Music, which is my publishing company through BMI. And I always, like I told my granddaddy before he passed, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. Papa, hey, I'm gonna be a rapper and I'm gonna own a record company one day. So I'm still a 9-year-old kid pursuing my dream. And that was one of them. So after I got the publishing company, I learned what it took to get a record company. So my first company really was a company called Criminal Records. I wanted to stick into the mafia outfit with the Corleone shit, everything. We had what we used to call our production team that time. Was it Sound Lab or Crime Lab or some shit like that. Anything right. Dealing with way before we were saying forensic, but anything dealing with that street outfit. My first label was Criminal Records, but when you search, do the search for what anybody else in the world that may have that name, it was 4 to 8 other names came up, and Beanie Siegel was one of them. Had a Criminal Records already for America, and there was a couple in Europe or something. So, by the IRS, they still send me papers for Criminal Records, but I never put a record out under that label, and just left it where it was. And went back to my origin and roots, you know what I mean? I'm born here again, Earl K. Long Hospital, from a charity hospital to a shotgun shack, We say in the South, a shotgun house is when you could open the front door and shoot a shotgun from the front, and it'd go all the way straight down the back, I'm born, we're raised in a house like that. My mother and them had the living room, the bedroom, the kitchen, the bathroom, and the back door. We lived in 4 houses. My great grandmother, my mother, and 2 of the neighbors we knew. And everything, took a visit to raise and steal and raise a child. So everybody knew, Pappy and Mamie and whoever was on the porch, different things like that. So and a couple of alleyways on the in between, but. So I went back to that, I always try to go back to my roots and kind of give it a new beginning. Mm-hmm. So I started a label called, thinking back to that, me being born later on in life, when I was about 18 or so. I had, the Superfly shack in the back, man. This one wasn't the shotgun crib. My mother had a friend, and at one time, believe it or not, I was able to live in my neighborhood, and the house I lived in, I could pay $100 a month. So, I was doing my thing, trapping and all that. My mama, one of her best friends, lived right in front of me, like in her backyard, another house. It was a little small crib, living room, 1 bedroom, kitchen, bath, outdoor, but it wasn't in the same straight up, you know what I mean? So it was a nice little crib for me at the time. So, the 1-room shack with the alley back, you know what I mean? But I looked at that, and you can see right here, I don't know if they can see it on the camera, this little dot, you'd think it go with, everything else on my hand. But there's a dot for us, connecting the dots, me and a couple of my cousins and homies, the old ladies in the neighborhood used to call that house the house of pain, because I wake up in the morning, go hear the beat banging, and we smoke drunk, trapped out the house and did whatever. And my homies went in and out of jail. They, knew any house in the hood that'll be open. There was several. Mine, you can come through any time in the morning, do whatever we wanted to do. Like I Snoop and them say 6, 7 in the morning, hoes and dope and everything. And my crib, it was like that as a teenager. All the OGs knew that about me. So if you came home from jail, you had nowhere else to stay. You can come sleep on my floor, couch, or whatever in the back room shit. Males and females alike. So we lived that party, young, wild ass life. And this that we called it the house of tension or detention home. So I said, you know what? We used to rap and freestyle, beat on the wall, do whatever. Like I said, if I had some equipment in here, just like in jail, man, it's a lot of multi-million-dollar shit going on in here. So I took that same demographic in that sense and incorporated into the music world. and started a label called Detention Home, House Detention. So my logo was an old kind of shack with the roof being blown off of it by musical notes. So I started that label and ran with that, with the West Coast Mafia record, The Rise Through the Ranks was the first one. I went on to do a second West Coast Mafia record called Once Upon a Time in America. And 2 records before that. My third record I was recording for Pro Artist was called Vintage.
Right.
And I got stopped in the process of that. All my Jimi Hendrix samples, and it was a phenomenal record. I was aiming at Outkast, was supposed to be on that record, Good in My Eye, you know what I mean? We was aiming at doing a video with Max Julian, and just, we was finna take it to the stars, and all that got snatched from under me in that sense without having that major access. So it forced me back independent, so naturally I can't clear the samples that I want to clear, so we made that really what it became, a vintage record. I actually went far as recording on XB50s. We made that a lot like how Hank Shockley and Public Enemy described production at the time. Yeah. Well, I have 5-10 guys in the room. I play live drums, a bass player, lead guitar player, trumpet player, sax player, trombone player, 2 DJs. These guys that had a beat machine, some guys had XB50s, and we all just have a jam session and find the sweet parts of those records. So next time you listen to Murderous and you hear that's 11-minute record, that's really trumpets and all, and guys from Chicago to New Orleans, just around, I play with live players and mix that with the technical players. So, but shouts out to a good near dear friend of mine, man, rest in peace, the old man by the name of Harold Coward, man, was one of the greatest white bass players alive, man. Used to play bass for Andy Gibb, rest in peace, and the Bee Gees, Kenny Rogers, you name them. Him and Ray Charles, he had impeccable history, man. He kind of coined, and kidnapped him as my old great my white granddaddy. But when he had all that BG money, he had like a 40-acre studio on Bluff Road. Everybody in the town knew about Mr. Harold. And he allowed me, when he had quit recording people, he opened back up for me, and I could go there 7 days a week. He had alligators on you know what I mean? Half of the property was swamp, had a pond at the top with bass this big, deer, Canadian geese. So, he give me the best of the world, man, and all the business he know from housing to banking, just to make sure my life was good before he passed away. But he had really a wooded studio, you know what I mean, with old 45 gold and platinum 45s on the wall, Kenny Rogers records, and Barbara Streisand. So he was that type of guy. He was a guy that told me, he saw Jimi Hendrix come in the game. He was leaving out a cafe or a bar, and he watched him plug up, and when he started, he walked out the door and went where he was going, but he knew what was finna happen then. So that type of rock guy, you know what I mean? He come from that rock era and had that type of money, but he was a country guy the way he come about 40 acres. So really, my closer to having 40 acres in the mule, you know what I mean? He did the best of life for me. Leaving with 12 shotgun and the 44 this big. So it's some real live young gun shit. I could buck do whatever the fuck. The police didn't raid us on the property. So to save my homies, Tuesday and Thursday night was our raid time in the town. So everybody knew I'm gonna be back there. If you fuck with me musically, man, y'all come back here. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that night. Come back here. We ducked our way in some country ass shit. Say what the fuck we wanna say, eat what we wanna say, record, and take a chance of making some legitimate money and getting out these streets. Was the whole evolution of the Corleone family, really coined and crowned Don at 26 years old on roasted pigs and birthday cake on him and his wife and, my family. So it's really like that. And he just gave me the best of both worlds. I had the black hand side, but on the white side of the game, he gave me those privileges too. So he again, rest in peace to Harold Coward. But saying that, all talking about vintage, I recorded, I want to say the rest of my own record, the vintage record, and the Corleone family album, and even the Preserved record. It's strange. He passed away in the making of Preserved, and before he could listen to that record, I recorded with one of the engineers, Mark Williams, is a good friend of mine. He raised us all black and white alike. So I was able to record that record before he could hear that. He died within that year. And we used to celebrate our birthday every year. He was a Gemini too. His birthday was June 12th. So we'll celebrate together, man, and didn't live too far from each other. So, but vintage is that, you know what I mean? the whole 45, the wooded shit, you know what I mean, and the old equipment. It kind of took its own evolution for other than what I aimed it to be. But, you know, vintage into the Corleone family was those records that was birthed on detention home. And, you know, and unfortunately, after those 4 records and maybe a mixtape or so or two, or whatever we might have put out, me and my longtime manager and boyhood friend, Uncle Paul, everybody knew from the Corleone family, parted ways due to bad business at the time. We okay and it's love to this day. What's up, Paul? You know, P, you know, Uncle P, but that took place and we had became partners with Detention Home. So I severed those ties, sabotaged the company, and later on started Trap Door Entertainment.
Dope.
Yes, sir.